What's up? This is gonna be a totally different video, and it's very special to me, in its own way. Um, because it is a wake up call and a reminder. Because so this is for the MGTOW community. This is gonna be the most important MGTOW video I'll ever make because I just got out of a sort of abusive fight, with my mom. But whenever this happens, I end up connecting with my brother. My brother has this habit of trying to white knight my mom and protect my parents. It's great, it's great. I love my brother and my brothers. But my mom, I grew up a lot like Jeanette McCurdy. I have been on Nickelodeon one time, and so spiritually it's there. But my mom, it was a weird, it's always these emotional outbursts and these weird arguments. So me and my brother, sometimes we bond. It's great, but when it comes to women, they could really take something that's just totally nothing and make it like the worst thing ever. Make it something that's ruining your life, or something just awful. And I know this is gonna come off as me, being a kid, I just I'm some misbehaving kid or whatnot. But so this whole started with me. My mom buys Celsius. I got Celsius stock, whatnot, in Robinhood. I got 7 shares of Celsius. I don't know why I'm shaky right now, but it's just combative mode. Maybe it's just me cold. You see me shaking, but so my mom I was awake at midnight. I woke up randomly, and there were these streams of texts. It was about me not drinking a Celsius. These 2 Celsius I had, but I was still drinking them. It's just that I didn't want to drink it later. But so let me just summarize this. I was still drinking the Celsius. My mom decides to just bring it all down, slam it on the table, and she throws a chemical bottle at me, and then I throw it right back at her, and it becomes this fight. And of course, yeah, me and my brother, and then it just became an argument between me and my brother. And it became a bonding moment. But so my mom has been a huge problem for me growing up. But this is a huge example because I'm dealing with health problems right now. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm dealing with a lot of worry, and I'm just trying to get my life back and try to feel normal and natural, after a life of hard work and grinding. And with the changes happening in the world, I'm realizing that it was a foolish way to go about my life. But and I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. My mom has everything, absolutely everything my dad could provide, and it is everywhere in my house. It's sure, I could make a video. I could just make a house tour, and you guys will just get my total idea of how my life's been. Because I'm at a point where I feel like I'm dying, when it comes to my health. Because I feel like I have a sickness that won't go away. And So my mom has a shopping addiction, clearly, you know. She spends my dad's money and she ships it all out to the Philippines. You know, it's just laundering to her Filipino family. And when it comes to men blinded by, you know, the fucking Filipino love they have or whatever the fucking lust they have, you know, I see these old white guys that go, "Oh, I love my little Filipino girl." You know, it's obviously like gold digging, and I know to an extent like all women are like that, you know. Um but you know, it's with the Filipino women, it's fucking obvious, man. Um but I've seen some relationships, you know, like the whole, you know, that one time I described, like a guy that pays $500 in rent in the Philippines. You know, he had a wife that he actually worked with, you know, like she was like more like an acquaintance, a helper, and they were like the same age. But I feel like you know, when you choose the wrong woman, you're doing a disservice to your kids entirely. And I know that my mom, like, if my dad like didn't impregnate my mom with me, I wouldn't be here. But at the same time, I grew up with my mom abusing my dad the same way she abuses me. You know, she would throw stuff at him. She would yell at him. She would threaten him. She would make a lot of things out of nothing with him. You know, when he came home, and he worked a hard job just like me. You know, and I get it all from him. You know, I get the struggle from him. When I didn't have to struggle, you know, I didn't have to struggle at all. I could have just took it easy and, you know, focused on content creation. But, you know, I'm a happy guy regularly. I like to, you know, I have a lot of happy friends, you know. We focus on gaming, you know. We're tight, you know, gaming. You know, all my closest friends, we're just kids. We just want to have fun, you know. So, you know, I could have like been like this happy guy like long time ago if I just got into like streaming, you know. That sounds cute. My brother brought it up while we were fighting, and I was like, oh my god, that's cute, you know, because like I like the idea of streaming. um and I have hopes of like becoming a VTuber one day. I didn't even want to show my face, you know, but you know, here I am trying to be authentic and share my story. But yeah, so my mom just kind of always finds a way to poison my life in a way, you know. It's like I could have been so happy, but she finds ways to just take her trauma and problems out on someone else, and it happens to be me. You know, it happens to be me. And I don't just mean this one, you know, thing that just happened recently, but again, you know, women, like, she's a woman that likes to make something out of nothing, you know. And you know, um I'm at a point where I've been, you know, constantly reflecting and meditating and healing and looking back on my life. And all the bad things that happened ever since I came back from Hawaii, you know, everything that happened to me, you know, it was always my mom that like poisoned it. You know, when I was working at Amazon, she would always abuse me. She would abuse me. You know, and of course my brother is a narcissist. I didn't get any love or privacy growing up, man. I didn't. But you know, when it comes to making these MGTOW videos, I'm a little different, you know. But I do encourage, you know, other MGTOWs to share their stories about their own moms, because my mom was was what introduced me to MGTOW when I was a teenager. I'm 27 years old. I was in high school when I discovered MGTOW. And that came about with me trying to figure out what my mom was doing to my dad. You know, all the awful things my mom did to my dad. But, you know, she's trying to traumatize me. You know, she's trying to traumatize me. But, I guess it could be a good kind of trauma, you know? I guess it could be a good kind of trauma, I guess. But, there have been a lot of unspeakable things that have happened to me, you know? A lot of very unspeakable things. And, you know, I believe in healing, you know? I believe in healing. And I was theming this around healing, you know. I called myself now. I would watch, you know, Infinite Waters videos, go to the park every morning, do some sun gazing. But these women are just they're not good, man. They're not good, you know. With these women with social media, they're getting awful. You know, it's this pattern where, you know, the woman like gets offended online and then she takes it out on her entire family, or she sees something completely different that she doesn't have that she wants, and she tries to damage her family to get that. You know, a lot of women are just out here, you know, cheating on their husbands and leaving the entire family to be with someone else. But all I could say is that this has been a quite like an actually traumatic event that happened. Like, you know, I see through the bullshit. You know, I see how this is bullshit. But I see how awful you know my mom is, and I don't want to become the S word. You know, like, oh, I have a reason to not care about this life, and I could die happy. I don't want to ever get to that point. I'm not like that, you know. I'm a hypochondriac. I'm always worried about my health. You know, I've been making slow, steady improvements to improve my health. Just slow, steady improvements, you know, to heal my nervous system. But you know, I guess you know, I guess I'll just do me. You know, just I guess I guess I'll keep pursuing my dreams. You know, just it's fine. You know, maybe I could just maybe it's not so bad. You know, maybe it's just God's hand. You know. But these women had the power to like really damage what you could be. I see it in so many men, you know. I see it in so many women, including my everyone, like me and my dad. What could have been, you know? These women can really take it away from you. But other than that, you know, women are supposed to be supportive and nurturing, and a lot of women aren't doing that job. They're just creating problems and making things a lot worse, you know, incredibly worse. That's about it, man. Thank you guys for watching.